I spent nearly already a whole year optimizing one cold outreach system. And as I look over the metrics from December to October, because November we just started, there is one thing that decides whether you're booking 2, 3, 4 appointments per 100 outreaches sent, meaning your ABR is above than 2%, or it's much worse than that, meaning 1, 0.5, or even less than that. And as I analyzed the data and came to the conclusion what this may be, I really focused on that. And basically, this is what happened, because from September to November, I have collected these many calls, as you can see somewhere here. And on the other hand, with these calls, I was finally able to make my first 10K per month. I specifically collected 13.7K in 24 days, which is absolutely amazing. But the truth is, this is so important that I really want to go in depth about it. So what is really going to happen in this video is that firstly, I'm going to talk about what that one thing is. Secondly, the reasons why this is so important. Thirdly, how do I use it personally in my copy? And fourthly is basically how can you use it for yourself, specifically given step-by-step action steps that you can take. So let's go over it. Now, first things first is, right, what is this thing? And it's going to be much more simpler than you think, because the truth is that it's your personality. So if you inject your personality into your cold outreach script, whether it's a body copy, whether it's a cold loom, whether it's a sales page in your cold outreach, whatever that may be, your appointment booking rate is going to rise. And why is this specifically? Let's go over the 3 reasons why this is. And one of the first thing comes from evolution, because we people evolved in a manner where we have heuristics, and these heuristics are basically shortcuts in the brain. And the reason these shortcuts actually exist in our mind is because there is so many information at a given moment coming to our mind that our mind had to create shortcuts about what kind of informations to not think about, what kind of informations to really go in depth about. And one of these, so to speak, shortcuts is the fact is that something is unique. Because if something is unique, your brain is just going to listen to it. And that's what happens when you inject your personality. Right now, the problem in 2025 is everyone is sending thousands and thousands of outreaches, even from, their mom's basement. Doesn't matter from where. And what happens because of that is there is just so much stimuli, meaning words, that it's not going to be in any shape or form creating an emotion in a person when they read it. So just as an example, right now, you have been on YouTube consuming content for a while now. I know that for a fact. But right now, if you read a title which has 10K per month in it, you don't really care about that. But 3, 4, 5 years ago, when you've seen 10K per month, you were like, I'm watching that video. And that's what happened with cold outreach. There's so many, the same verse, the same everything being sent out for the people that right now they don't care about it. And that's why if you inject your personality, your copy, your stimuli is going to be unique. So it again creates emotion. And now this ties into my second reason why this is the game changer now in 2025 and coming to 2026 as well. And it's because it's much more likely to get you remembered, because this is the problem where almost everyone now has an online business and can, promise you some kind of good results. So why would you trust them instead of someone else? Well, that's the difference, personality. Because if someone is a cool guy you fuck with, so to speak, that you want to work with, no? And that's the answer. What that really realistically does is even if someone doesn't want to work with you right now, they will remember your name. They will remember you. And if you live in your cold outreach ecosystem, your IG handle, your whatever, they can just contact you any single given time when they feel like they are ready. So that's really the second reason for why this is the game changer. But let's talk about the third reason. And that's because it doesn't feel like a cold email blast. Think about it. When someone wants to send a bunch of emails, what are they trying to do? Well, they are trying to write the most persuasive copy in the world, but they don't think about what can they implement from their own life, from their perspective. And that's why when they are writing the copy, it feels like a cold email blast. It doesn't feel personal. And if you in a correct shape or form, learn to implement how to use your personality in your own copy, in your own script, then your emails and your any kind of cold outreach script is going to feel feel very, very personal. And that's the change, that's the difference. That's what really defines whether you're going to succeed or not. And so right now, let's go over specifically how I use my own personality in my cold outreach. Now, I don't know if it came through this video, but I like to joke around stuff, and I'm really authentic in any of my things that I do. Basically, I'm not trying to act that someone who I'm not. And the other thing is I'm not needy. Like, I'm really not needy in either a sales score, whatever, that doesn't matter. And so I try to use these personality traits of myself to actually implement it into my copy. Now, when we're going to talk about step by step, how can you implement it for yourself? Don't worry, you don't have to think about what kind of traits you have, because it will have a much natural structure and process when you have to implement it for yourself. I just wanted to give some kind of context for you to understand why I have implemented those lines into my cold outreach script. So, you have an understanding, right? So as you guys can see, this is my calendar, which I've already shown you, I think. But let's talk about the cold outreach script, exactly how I use it for myself. Now, of course, I'm not going to show you specifically every single thing I wrote, because I use it. And if I reveal it for you, it's not going to work for me, because of the same thing I talked about, is the stimuli entropy problem. But if you want, guys, I can create a whole entire video about it. But on the other hand, if you guys need more specific one-on-one help with your cold outreach, or you want to learn the best cold outreach technique in 2025, or what I use basically, then of course you can book a call down below and I can teach you that thing and I can give you our systems. With that said, let's talk about how this actually looks like. So my body copy. Now let's talk about how exactly it comes through. So the second line, where we have some really simple personal compliment to the niche, what I've written is something most likely people haven't seen. It's like, your content had me hooked. And this is not something that people say usually in a cold outreach for people who have a YouTube channel. Like, oh my God, your content is amazing. I just binge watched your content. I did this, that. Your content had me hooked. This shines my auto personality through, because this is who I am. A 20-year-old guy who likes YouTube, who absolutely loves these sorts of things. This was funny though, sorry for that, but let's continue. I'm this 20-year-old guy who likes these sorts of things, and this really makes that shine through. And because of this, I have a bunch of people responding like, thank you so much for checking out my content. Like, this feels much more personal to them. And so let's talk about the second line. And here you have an AI personalization line, and here I say claps to that. So think about the difference, saying your content is good, or some kind of compliment saying like, this is really good, or hearing claps to that. Like, that's just personal, authentic, it's just good. And now the next line is my offer line. And here I don't say, I know I can generate you this and that. No, because that's not who I am. I like to talk in a way where you're like, hey, I can do it for you, but I'm not trying to push you on this. So that's why I say, I genuinely believe that I can. Simple as that. Or the next line, which is, I say that offer, and it's a huge offer, like a big promise. And I just say that, hey, I know it's hard to trust me in this. And again, this shows my authentic part, which is like, hey, I want to help you with this, and I know you don't trust me, but I know I can help you out if you would be interested. And so blah, blah, blah. This is not really personality induced, because there was no way to do it. But like, again, the last line, this is the line which every single person puts into an email body copy. So Google Workspace doesn't push you into the spam. It's like, honestly, if you didn't like my face and want to opt out, respond, I don't want it, and I will magically disappear. And this is just funny. Like, authentic Robert, which is, if you didn't like my face and you want to opt out, respond, I don't want it, and I will magically disappear. This is, again, funny. So that's my email body copy, some ideas for you that you can steal. But let's talk about my Loom, because we are sending right now at the moment Loom, and this is a part of my Loom. It has 2 minutes and 23 seconds. So here in the Loom, there is a part where I introduce some things, and I want to go over to my offer, which is this statement. And there is a problem, which is, how do I do that? And I talked about, what if I use the line of value? I know I can help you, or I know I can bring some value to you, or these sorts of things. And then I realized that, hey, like, this is not me. I wouldn't say something like this. Or if I would say it, again, the problem is that it's just overused. So I realized, what if I say this? I have some tricks in my back pocket. And that's, again, a new unique stimuli that's coming from me personally. So this is really good. And the next thing is, again, the offer stimuli. And hey, I say, of course, I cannot be sure you will just trust me on this, so that's why I guarantee, blah, blah, blah. And again, here's another one. This again really shows my personality. I show them a case study right here as well, and I say to them like, yo, I just don't want to take too much of your time, honestly. So I will show more case studies later. So other people would be like, hey, case study, case study, case study, case study, case study, just trust me on the buy from me. But I'm not doing that. I just don't want to take too much of your time. If you want to trust me, you will. I basically say this, which is like, if you want to trust me, with one case study, you will, but also I will show you case studies later. Like, this is really proving my point. I'm not trying to force you. I'm not trying to get you to buy my stuff. I know I can help you, but you have to decide. This is what I'm doing. And here, this is again, I just love this line, which is at the end, I say, hey, you know, again, I repeat the offer and a quick guarantee and these sorts of things. And I say that, hey, if we couldn't make this work for you, I should just literally bury myself alive, like literally. And do you know how much trust that builds? Because that's me personally. I am confident in this. This again shows I'm not overly salesy, I'm not overly pushy, but I am confident. And this really shines through my cold outreach. So this was my Loom. Now let's talk about my VSL. And that's going to be, again, very, very simple, because here I say this, which is we have a part of the VSL where I talk about who this is actually good for specifically. And I say that basically you're a human being and you have X, Y, and Z. But think about it. Who the freak would say you're a human being? Like everyone already understands they are a human being. So why am I saying this? Well, because it's me, it's personal to me. And that's really easy, but that really builds so much trust because it's me. Again, I'm not trying to force them. I'm not trying to do something which I'm not. It's me proving my point. So that's really how this works. So you're a human being and you have a YouTube channel where da. Now, again, with the offer, I have a really cool offer with a really good guarantee, but I put on top of that to build more trust with my personality this line, which is I'm going to give you my beloved 1995 Lada Niva, which is my beast. And I absolutely love doing questionable stuff on the Balkans with it. So let's just leave it like that. But if it wouldn't work, you would get that as well. That's why I'm so confident about this. But you get my point. Like here, I'm building more trust by being funny, being myself, being unique. And we have another part, which is, again, funny, which is in the part where we talk about how this is going to be done. There is a place which is the one-on-one support. And right there, I say that basically, we are not going to leave you in the trenches, like so to speak. And again, this is funny. This is me. This is personal to me. So this is how I personally use my personality in my cold outreach scripts. But the question becomes, guys, how can you use this for yourself? How can you finally use into your own cold outreach your personality? And it's easier than you guys would think, but there's two things that you need to understand. One is the fact that you need to understand how to write persuasive copy. Because if you don't know how to write persuasive copy, your copy in any short form format, whether it's personally induced or it's not personally induced, it's not going to work. But that's why it's much more important that you know how to write persuasive copy when you're inducing your personality. Because if you're not following a template, and basically you're writing something from your own personal position, if it's not going to work with other people because you don't understand how to persuade someone, it's just going to worsen your position. That's why the first thing is you have to understand writing persuasive copy. And that's why I want you to learn that first. Now, I don't know how, good you are at writing persuasive copy, I'm not sure. But if you want to learn about that, just subscribe to my channel, because we're going to touch on that later, or book a call with me and I will teach you those things, or it is already taught in my program. But that's one thing which is really important. But let's hypothetically think that you completely understand how to write persuasive copy. How do you use your personality in your cold outreach scripts? And again, this is simple, but you have to not think. That's the reality. Because your personality is your authentic self, right? And that's the problem. Where when you're writing copy like this, you're thinking, what's the best line to use? What's this? What's that? Blah, 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 blah. And you overthink. And that's when the good ideas which come from your mind, and it would be really good in your cold outreach script because it would build more personnel stuff and these sorts of things, is just out. Because your mind, because of overthinking, decided that it's not going to write it down onto the page, onto your cold email script, and that's all. And basically how you solve this problem is by you personally not thinking anymore. And this is the truth, because when you're, I will tell you the truth, because when you're overthinking, you're not progressing, but you're regressing, because you're thinking about the fact of doing something. And this is where you have good ideas and you don't use those good ideas because you were thinking. But on the other hand, what you have to do is whatever idea comes to your mind, you write it down, because you don't have then the opportunity to overthink it. And if you write it down and you don't overthink it, what will happen is you can use a process to analyze whether that's persuasive copy and you should leave it there, or it's not persuasive copy and you shouldn't leave there. So that's what you need to do. Because, again, if you don't force it, then it's going to come from your authentic self, and that's going to be your personal copy. But if it would come and you overthink it, you have to basically stop doing that by firstly writing it down step by step, like what you thought about, and secondly, optimizing it by having a process for deciding whether it's good or bad. And this is how that works. And I hope it made sense, because this is what really allowed me to have a huge appointment booking rate and scale past 10K per month and book a bunch of appointments. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. As I mentioned, I have a program which you can check out, link in the description. And also I'm going to come with a new video this week, so stay tuned.